Okay.
Hi.
Well,
Hi.
you're a little early.
I know. Hi. Hi, Matt.
How are you, buddy?
Hello.
Hi, Dan. Hey, Matt.
How's it going, buddy?
Hello.
So I just emailed already.
So, you're gonna shake my hand? Oh my god.
Good to see you, Dan.
Take two. Action.
We need one of those things. That's what we should get.
No, it's okay. So, like, yeah, Matt, you, first of all, like, what is Matt? Who is Matt?
Matt is just some guy that painted a T-shirt in 2008. That's all he is. No, I painted a T-shirt in grade 11. Me and Chris Bestplug, and we, just got some shirt from Michaels, painted it, and people wanted to buy them, and that's kind of what started Candy Co. And Candy Co. eventually turned into Brand Stamp and all that kind of stuff. But it all started in 2008 with a paintbrush and that ugly shirt.
Oh,
It's a $3 shirt and a $250 frame.
wow. So that's kind of like the
That's where it started.
the
was that.
foundation.
That's the foundation, yeah. Michael's shirt with ripped armpit and some dirt stains.
Was it for like a school project?
Mm-mm. We just did it in art class because we wanted to make clothes that people wanted to wear, but it's not. I mean, you were 16 years old, you didn't know what you were doing, you just wanted to make a clothing brand, and I mean, back then, not everybody and their dog had a clothing brand like now, but, you know, it was kind of something, and it was something fun to do, and kept us busy, and, I mean, we invested $200 each, and that's kind of how we started, and that's still how we go now. We just, even building Brand Stamp and stuff like that, we just kind of go with what we got. We don't, you don't need to get too big too fast, but you still have to know where you come from. That's why we hung it on the walls, so you can remember that.
Where you came from?
Where you came from, just a little ugly shirt that.
Painted a bright future.
Yeah, and I mean, painting that shirt, we called it Candy. So we got the name from a dictionary, we flipped the dictionary, landed our finger on Candy with a Y.
Oh.
We knew that there would be a Candy with a Y clothing brand somewhere,
Okay.
so we changed it to IE. Made a couple runs of Candy shirts, realized that men didn't really want to wear a shirt that said Candy on it, and so we added the Co for no reason, just to make it sound more masculine.
Oh.
And so the legal name is Candy Co. Corporation, and we just added it to make it sound a little bit better, and then sales started to pick up with males, and we just kind of went from there. Ordered 12 shirts, sold them, ordered 24, sold them, and then ordered 48, and we just kept doubling what we were doing, and you know, I was selling it out of my locker, and then I bought a van and sold it out of my van, and then yeah, it just kind of kept going that way. Slinging shirts was kind of the thing for a while, and you know, we sold like 100 shirts or something in the first year and a bit, and
Holy shit.
yeah, it was kind of crazy how fast it all went, and then you know, we just celebrated our 10-year last year, and it was one of the first times I actually looked back and saw everything that I've done, and you know, to sell 100 shirts they weren't the nicest looking things, but they were, people bought it because they wanted to be part of that family, part of the group, part of the, you know, people that were wearing it and stuff like that.
And it was something, you know, like I think a lot of people, we tend to like focus on just like, oh, like yeah, that's not good looking, but not everyone's good looking.
Yeah, and this is also 11 years ago, so fashion was a little bit different.
Back then, yeah, definitely.
You know, when we came up with a V-neck shirt, that was like a big deal, and not everybody's wearing V-neck shirts, and that was a little bit crazy there. And then we started a clothing line called Innocence Clothing, which was our girl line, and that totally failed and bombed. That was a really bad thing for us. But you learn from those mistakes. I mean, the reason that I have our first shirt hung on our wall isn't because it is ugly, or it's, you know, we did that and that's where we started.
Yeah.
You take what you did with Innocence Clothing and you have to learn from it. Any mistakes that we make now or that I've made in the past, you just got to learn from it. There's no sense in, you know, complaining and all that and not moving forward. Just move forward with what you got.
What we get exactly.
Do we make Candy Co now? I mean, no, it's kind of on hiatus. I mean, we don't really make anything now. Could it come back? Yeah, I just need the time to do it. but people still know that name, still know
Yeah.
that brand, and that's why, you know, even when we answer the phone here, it's Candico and Branson, because people still know that name if it's from the fashion shows, the bike demos, and stuff like that. Sorry, we had the
Forgot that was my job.
that was you had one job.
And you still failed. Wow. Must
Cool,
be
thanks,
fun
buddy.
working with Kenzie.
And you know, we just, geez, where was I? So I had to get an oil change, so I had to get my guy to come get my car.
Oh, that's okay. So like you were talking about you know, learn from those mistakes.
Yeah, so learning from those mistakes and, you know, looking at that and realizing, okay, we've done that.
Yeah.
If, you know, guys shouldn't make a women's clothing line, I found that out at 17 years old, and that's why Innocence Clothing is no longer a thing. But I still have the stickers, and I still, you know, in our 10-year documentary, I do mention it because it is something you should mention.
Yeah.
$2,500 is what we lost, and when you're 17 years old, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So we learned from that and learned that people wanted the name Candico, women and men, so we just kind of mixed them instead of you know, where like Quicksilver had like Roxy and Quicksilver, we had just Candico where we made everything, kids clothes, men's,
Yeah.
women, everything like that, because they wanted that name,
Yeah.
not veer off to an Innocence Clothing that people didn't know anything about.
Yeah.
Because the bike demos, the fashion shows, everything was Candico.
Candico, yeah.
Nobody cared about Innocence, so
Innocence, yeah.
we just lost it.
Yeah, I mean,
Ditch
like,
it.
you know, like, it's not everything you try is gonna, you know, work out.
Oh no,
right?
no.
So,
Even every shirt that we made wasn't great. Some of the shirts that I thought were not the best looking shirts ended up selling really, really well.
exactly.
And then you spend all this time on a design, and you know your graphic designer at the time spends hours on this design, and it doesn't sell that well. And then all you do is you take the Candico logo, you add a red line under it, and you sell hundreds of them. It didn't make any sense. So I found out that people just wanted to wear that brand instead of spending weeks on a design that.
That didn't work, you know.
Because it was that we were using American Apparel, we were using nice quality stuff. People wanted to be part of that family. People wanted to come to the bike demos and the fashion shows with stuff.
Candico, this one, Candico.
We had lots of kids wearing it. We had a lot of models. We did photo shoots. We were doing all kinds of stuff. And this is pre-Instagram days. This was like, you know,
Dang.
you didn't have any of that fun stuff to play with. So you had a camera and Facebook, and you didn't even use Facebook properly.
And people that wanted to be on camera.
Yeah. There wasn't people doing this then. There was to do a photo shoot was like a whole thing. Now it's everybody has, you know, a phone with them
Yeah.
that they can do their own
Photo
photos.
shoot, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so it's just kind of like, you know, so to the business part, you know, before we go into Brandstat, so Candico, you know, like, yeah, 10 years, you started this and that and stuff. Was there at any point where you sat down and was like, you know what, we can take this to the next level, or you just continue with that roller coaster of like, okay, we sell 48, and after that, we just go higher than that?
I mean, so we started in 2008, and by I would say 2013, we were in 15 stores. I was ordering 1,500 hats at a time, $25,000 worth of hoodies and shirts from American Apparel. Like, we weren't just a little thing. And sometimes, you know, when you talk to some people now, or even some of the staff or people that we work with, there is people that know the level that we were at, and then there's
Yeah.
people that just, oh, I've seen a sticker or something. But I mean, to give you just some numbers, there's, you know, 1,500 hats every couple months, $25,000 worth of hoodies and shirts, giving away $1,000 worth of stickers a month. Like, we were 15 stores to keep them stocked up was a lot of stuff too, but we were also moving product. At a fashion show, our first fashion show we did at Average Joe's, a local bar here in town, we sold $10,000 in 3 hours.
Holy shit.
I remember giving my mom a bundle of 20s in her purse, and I had people escort her to the car because we just had so much cash. It was just a lot of cash, and I think that those sales came from a handful of things. One being people liked what the clothing was, people liked wearing it, people liked who was wearing it. I mean, all of our riders and stuff like that, everybody was pretty clean cut. I mean, we didn't have, you know, like the crazy people and, you know, doing crazy things. and stuff like that. We tried to keep it very clean cut. There was no smoking allowed during a demo. Like, it was more about the kids, so we kept it very. And if anyone's ever seen a demo, they would see that. But you know, if you did smoke, you were away from the ramps and the kids and everything. Like, we wanted to
So
keep
it was
it.
like more family friendly.
Yeah, it was.
and,
I mean,
and presentable.
if you have a poster, a Candy Co poster of Will or Jeff or anything like that, and they sign it and it says Candy Co on it, and they put it on their bedroom wall, they would leave it there for years. And you, from a business perspective, you own that kid for
Yeah.
till he doesn't want to wear the brand anymore, because he wears the hat when he's a kid, and then he's gonna buy the clothes as he get older. His girlfriend's probably gonna jump on it and buy it too. His friends are gonna buy it. I mean, that's just kind of how it went. So that's why we did the bike demos. But we were doing some numbers, like, you know, we were
That's
moving
good.
product.
That's-
But we had to do free bike demos. We did free fashion shows.
Yeah.
We did a fashion show at Cowboys in Calgary and stuff like that. And that's how you promoted it, because there wasn't social media. Well, there was social media, but it just
But
wasn't
not
as big as it is now.
Yeah.
So you had to promote yourself that way and sell. I mean, that's what you had to do.
Talking about social media, did you think that for you, did you think that social media helped Candy go out, or kind of like was a little bit negative for it? Because sometimes people want hands-on stuff. So like if you know you're advertising to people right there and there, you know, when you're doing your promos and stuff,
Right.
doing the fashion show and stuff, you know, people want hands-on stuff compared to like, oh, hey, that looks good on social media,
And then give them a like.
and that's it.
I think when we started, social media has been a lot of a change now. I mean, likes and follows are currency now.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, you have to earn that from people. It's not as easy as it
Yeah.
was back in the day. I remember when one of our posts got 100 likes for the first time, and that was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
When we hit 2,000 followers, that was pretty crazy, because
Yeah.
like the only people getting 2,000 followers were like famous people or like, you know, big models and stuff like that. And here we are to some little local clothing company that was getting, you know, that kind of stuff. So I would say that social media has definitely changed from when we started. But when we did start, we didn't have, the only thing that there was Facebook. So we had it, but there wasn't business pages then, there wasn't anything. So all we were doing is, I think I made like a Candy Co. I don't even know what they were called back then. There weren't pages. What is it, groups? 10 years ago, group? Yeah. So I made like a Candy Co. group, and you just like invited all your friends or whatever. And like these were the times where like you would sit up in class and they'd say, "Oh, I'm Matt Gillen and I have 400 friends on Facebook," you know, and that was the thing. And we invited people to that, and you just put pictures of your photo shoots on there, and that's kind of how we promoted it. And then I remember when I found out what Instagram was, it was like, why would somebody care for this? I don't understand why somebody would want this. And now it's one of the biggest things ever. And
Yeah.
I started using that as to show new products and stuff like that. So I would say that we were a little bit late coming into the social media game as a brand, but that's because when things come in and that's new, I was always hesitant to do it until I actually knew it worked. But Instagram definitely worked, and we saw a platform to do that, and kind of mixed old school with new school with the bike demos and stuff like that, and then mixing social media with that. But it was a very cool learning aspect, because we did it as they were coming in,
Yeah.
right? So, and then Twitter and Snapchat and all this other stuff comes in, and it's all different now.
You
but-
just get thrown off.
Oh yeah,
I don't understand Snapchat.
I remember when Snapchat had the tongue. Like,
I mean, I've used the tongue filter sometimes, you know, but I only have Snapchat because I'm a DJ and lots of people are on it, and I'm just like,
Right.
okay, I'm gonna do it. I don't like taking pictures too, so maybe
Right.
that's why. But Snapchat, no, my thing.
yeah.
I mean, Twitter is, but Snapchat, Instagram, I'm like,
But as a brand, I think you have to do it.
oh yeah.
And show people your products and stuff like that, and have lifestyle shoots and
Mhm.
and promoting the products and getting people to follow your stuff and see that you're at a bike demo so they can come buy it. I mean, we had 15 stores that sold our stuff, but we could never keep those stores in, like stocked up anyway.
Yeah.
So when we had a demo, that's when you could come buy your stuff, and
Yeah.
you know, and if friends came, they would get a deal, and you know, you know, little kid rolls up and he's got like, you know, his hair all messy and a little bit of, you know, boogers in his nose. I mean, you're gonna give him a hat and he's gonna watch the show and be jacked on this bike demo. And you know, the guy signed little papers for him, and he's happier than the squirrel, and I don't know what, I'm trying to think of something fun that's not really working, but
All good.
it keeps that customer going, and,
Yeah.
and I think now that those young kids are grown up, they still recognize the name,
Yeah.
and the newer kids don't. You know, we've had even staff that have come in here and oh yeah, I started Candy Co, and they're like, yeah, that's cool. I don't know what that is, but when it was a thing, they would have been, you know, that it was a little bit
Oh,
cooler
yeah,
back in the
that's
day,
right.
right? So
Okay. Okay. Well, like, let's move on to Brand Stamp. So, what started Brand Stamp? Because from Candy Co to Brand Stamp, I think those are two
completely different things.
completely different stuff. So, what actually
The way that Brand Stamp, I guess, would have started was when we started Candy Co. Me and Chris, we had a client. I guess it would have been our first client. It was a plane, an airline company, and he called us up and he's like, "Hey, I see what you guys are doing with your own brand." And he was like referring to like the show American Chopper or something like that. How like they make their own bikes, but they'll make you like a custom bike. So he's like, "Hey, like, could you make us like our own shirt, but with your design, kind of like your expertise in it or something?" Now that's a corporate shirt order, but back then you don't know what the hell that is. So he calls us to his house, big house, and he says he needs 100 shirts, and we're like, oh my gosh, like, this is crazy, because we were selling 100 in a year, so some guy wants 100 right now. That's crazy. And he wrote us a $2,500 check on his kitchen table, and he said, make us some shirts. So we ended up making him some shirts, and that's when me and Chris started to wonder, you know, we could also be looking at this from a wholesale perspective and a retail perspective. So we kept going and going and going, and kept getting orders and doing grad hoodies and stuff like that, and doing logo designs for local businesses. But the funny thing was when our competition started to come to us, because we were actually cheaper than the other printers in town, so we were actually making our competition stuff. So in Fernie, we were sold in 2 shops there, and you know, it'd be a Candy Co shirt and then a Company X, but we were making both of them. So I don't care if you were buying Company X or mine, I'm still making money on both products. So we thought, there's some money there. Like, there's a way to make money on both aspects. So let's do that. And that's kind of, I would say, how Brand Stamp did kind of start. Was we called it Candy Co Corporate, and we would, you know, do grad hoodies and band shirts and logo design and all that kind of stuff, but still doing Candy Co. And when you start growing up and realizing that you have a mortgage and certain stuff like that, you start to realize that you actually got to make some money. So we actually decided to take the corporate side seriously and separate the companies, because Candy Co, when you go to that site, or well, the site's different now, but back then it looked retail. You know, it had models, it had, you know, these shirts, but it didn't say, oh, we'll do your logo or your branding, because I don't think those should be mixed. And there's a lot of guys and a lot of companies out there that do it. I think it looks kind of messy because it's mixing too close. So we ended up just separating it, having Brand Stamp and Candy Co, and that was around the time that we got this office, and that's when things kind of changed. And so now I'd say 95% of our business is Brand Stamp, and the rest is Candy Co. But we still go under that Candy Co name because it does still have some clout and people still know what it is and stuff like that. And it does have a trusted name in the clothing world.
Yeah.
So if we're doing a competitor's merch, they're not necessarily going to care what Brand Stamp is, but they might care what Candy Co is.
Yeah.
So that's how it kind of started. And now for Brand Stamp, we do, you know, one-stop agency. We do everything in-house, and got a good team. And
can you give some exact details of exactly what Brand Stamp does, like
so
logos? Or
I mean, Brand Stamp is full service. So we would do your merch, which would come from the Candy Co. Logo design, videography, photography, social media, Google AdWords, PPC, websites, business cards, print material, all that kind of stuff. You can basically walk in with a napkin drawing of your logo and leave with a brand and a website and all that kind of stuff.
So like you're the one stop for branding and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
I think on our website, I think it's put your stamp on the world. So we take your idea and make it what you need it to kind of do. But that all starts from what you did with Candy Co. I mean, there's not really much different in building your own brand and building and helping somebody build theirs. The same gears are in motion with that. It's nice, and when we were doing corporate stuff and doing branding for our competitors, it was nice to separate from Candy Co. because you keep having to have your ideas, Candy Co, and it was nice to be like, okay, Candy Co, Company X, Candy Co, Company Y, Candy Co, Company Z. It was nice to break away from that and explore some different things, right? It was fun, and it's still, we have so many clients now, and so many. I mean, every day is different. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow, right? So,
I like that.
Yeah, it's interesting and it's fun, and
it's challenging, and it keeps you thinking, keeps you going.
Oh yeah, it's a go. It's a go time. But
is this the full extent of your staffing, or?
We're missing a young lad, but yeah, this would be Sammy, Kenzie, Allie. Taylor would be over in the corner, but he's not here. He's has a grad trip because he's in high school, and then my desk, and that's really it right now. We do have some contractors that do some other stuff for us, but this is our in-house crew here, and everybody has their own job and what they do and are specializing. So I'm not going to walk up and be like, yeah, I can make your logo, I can do your photography, and I can do your social. No, I don't do that.
Yeah.
They do that. So
that's why
when you specialize in something, you become really, really good at it. They're all great at stuff. It's not always the best to be good at everything.
Yeah.
It's okay to be good at skateboarding and good at biking, but you could be great at one.
Yeah.
Right.
And be super great at
yeah. Tony Hawk doesn't pick up a bike and start riding around.
Yeah, so. Michael Phelps doesn't want as well.
Yeah.
That's it.
You can have other parts to what you do, but it's good to have what you kill it at, and let them do that.
Yeah.
I'm not even allowed to hold a camera, and if I do, I usually don't know what I'm doing. So.
Yeah, the last time I held the camera, he made fun of me. He put it on his Snapchat.
Yeah, I almost dropped one time and I just don't like to. I don't know how to hold it. I don't know where to hold it. I just.
It's fun to be able to.
That's why I just stuck with this.
Be able to sit back and let them do your stuff while you do your stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, even when we were because we did some vlogging and podcasts and stuff too, and that kind of opened up the door to this is the way to do things now. This is the marketing. This is the the new guerrilla marketing. This is how you do things, is to be filmed and stuff like that. And that's where we were kind of exploring my own personal brand and helping the businesses out too.
Yeah.
People nowadays, I think, like to know the person behind those brands more than they used to. So. I mean, we would interview business owners in my podcast, and then we would just, have a vlog and kind of show what our days look like here. And people seem to weirdly be into it.
Oh, yeah. I had this, on Snapchat before that craze. I don't know how big you follow Snapchat, but there was this one time when Snapchat rolled out this crazy update, and everyone hated that update. But before that, I had this thing called A Day With. And A Day With is just literally a day with you. And what you do in the background. Oh yeah, I work at Brandstamp, but what do you guys do? The meetings and all the stuff before it comes out to the public, right?
Right.
And trust me, before that crazy ass Snapchat update, we were having 300 views a day. It's crazy, on something that you can just click, and click. So a lot of people I think these days, because of the social media stuff, a lot of people want to know more about. Who is this person, and what does
the person behind the brand and what they do and what their personal life looks. I've been very with any of my vlogs or anything, and you guys can check those out. I keep my personal very separate. I never like to mix it. I think we filmed at my like house once, and my dog was in it once. Like I don't like to bring in personal.
stuff.
You still need to have some personal. You still need to be able to. I don't want people to know where I live. I don't want people to know what I drive. I don't want people to know what I do all the time at home. That's my own thing.
Yeah.
When it comes to business, I mean, you can have
It's a fair game.
fair game, but I mean, people don't need to know that I eat Subway like 3 times a week. Right? People don't need to know.
I
that,
mean, you're
like,
telling them now.
well, now they know, but like, if anyone follows me, they know I love Subway. But you do have to have that separation.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so going forward, like, do you have anything else planned out for Blankstaff? What are your goals going forward for Blankstaff?
I mean, I would like to grow it so that it's, you know, a very big agency and start expanding more in Canada, and, you know, getting some bigger clients and stuff like that, and not just like local clients, but like getting, you know, corporate clients and like doing some ads and stuff like that for big companies. I think that would be really, really cool. Doing commercials for that kind of stuff, growing in the right kind of way. I mean, you don't always need to grow with people, which is one thing that we did find out, but you can grow with, you know, the clients that you do have and the stuff that you do. Did we always do video or social media and stuff? No. You just, if that's something that you have someone that can do or that you are good at as a company, you do it.
Yeah.
We started up Brand Stuff Off as just merch, so we never, like, it doesn't even have marketing in the original logo. That's why we added the marketing, because now we do everything.
Yeah.
But that's not something I thought about 2 years ago when we turned the key to this office and came in here. You just kind of go with the flow and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I've done Candy Co. and this is, do I have a business plan? No, I've never actually had one, because we change so fast that it's just.
I mean, like, the market changes so fast too. So,
Oh God, everything changes. So,
so you gotta be able to adapt to what's coming your way.
growing the marketing side would be really, really interesting. Getting some bigger clients. There is a side thing that we've talked about. There isn't really too much I can say about it, but it has to do with logistics. That's something I would really like to get into as a separate kind of business. But that's really about it. Growing my personal brand, doing that kind of stuff. But that's all. You just do all of that at once. There isn't one thing I would necessarily focus on at this exact second, but
What's your
Brand
big-
Stamp is my main focus right now.
What's your biggest project with Blankstaff to date?
I can't say that. I can't say. I would say the biggest project that we've ever done was a very. I wouldn't do it again,
Oh.
and it involved me getting a big sunburn. But other than that, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to work with such a big company, but I would have done things a little bit differently. But we do work with a ton of big companies and big corporations on their social media and branding and stuff like that, and that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
But we're not going to steer away from Joe Blow's Plumbing that needs it too, right?
Yeah.
So you never know who knows somebody, and those little clients can turn into big clients.
Clients, yeah.
Those littler clients, their sister-in-law you never know, right?
Yeah.
So you treat everybody doesn't matter if it's a $10 order or a $100,000 deal. It's
It's still a deal.
It's still a deal.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a couple bucks more than you had at the morning in the beginning of that day. So
Yeah. Okay. As you know, as a business-minded guy, you know, if I'm allowed to say that, I mean, I think I'm allowed to say that. It's been 11 years in business.
Oh yeah.
So as a business,
I just don't like the word entrepreneur all the time, but I guess I kind of fall into that. But
I mean, I think so. I think
so. I mean, I used to sell pencils in elementary school. I don't think that's entrepreneurial. You just do it because you have to do it. But I think anything entrepreneurial is taking something and changing it enough so that it can either be help someone or to look at something a little. You know, you can't reinvent a T-shirt, but you can put a logo on a T-shirt to sell it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
You can always be getting everything can be updated. There's an entrepreneur behind everything that's made, right? The guy who made the zipper, I mean, is one of the richest people in the world, and nobody cares about him because he only gets a half a cent per zipper. I mean, that's a lot of stuff, right? It's not always the Mark Cubans out there that everybody sees. it's stuff like that. But I guess I do fall into that. But when you're 16, you don't really, you just do it. You're not
you
really
don't
concerned
think,
about.
oh yeah, I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur. I just
No. We didn't even have a bank account. Our legal document was written on a napkin in Chris's basement.
Okay, so as an entrepreneur in court, since you don't want to be
Yeah,
labeled
I'm
that
an
all the time.
entrepreneur. Yeah.
So, what are your challenges? What have been your biggest challenges so far?
Time. Time.
That's a big one.
Time would be a big one. Trust. Letting things not bother you. When we started Candy Co, there was somebody made see, and this is how long ago this goes. Another Facebook group that was I Hate Candy Co. And that really bothered me for a long time until I took the name and I made it my own, and I made I Hate Candy Co shirts and stickers. They sold really well. But then it became my thing, and I got the idea from Ryan Sheckler, who's a skateboarder, who's one of the most hated skaters ever. But you know what? At the end of the day, he doesn't really care because it's like Nickelback. Everybody hates Nickelback, but they're still selling millions of
Obvious tracks.
So either people are just not wanting to say that they like Nickelback, which everybody has a Nickelback song that they like.
Yeah.
So it just turned into that. It became uncool to not like Candy Co, and then I kind of took the glass half full and flipped it over again. And made I Hate Candy Co shirts, and people were like, what the hell are you doing? And I said, trust me. And it worked. We did 4 different designs of it, made stickers, made hats, all kinds of stuff. It was fun. I wore one. And it was like a joke. It was kind of fun to do. So then it became not cool to hate it again.
Yeah.
Or it became not cool, or it became cool to hate it again.
Yeah.
But we were making money on the shirt, so I didn't care.
Yeah. Actually, recently, 50 Cent, he won a battle case against this lady, and the court ordered the lady to pay him $30,000.
Okay.
So, so the lady was he's been bugging, 50 Cent, he's been bugging the lady, where's my money, blah, blah. So the lady made a, a diss track recently about how he doesn't, and she called it, I Ain't Got It, right? And stuff, this. Guess what 50 Cent did? He trademarked that I Ain't Got It.
So every time the song plays, he gets money from it.
Money from it.
Smart.
All the merch, everything from that I Ain't Got It stuff goes straight to it. I think people just gotta it's hard to separate emotions from business, because sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some, but you gotta.
But I think you have to. And when I was 16, it really bothered me to see that. But then when you get a little bit older, you're like, you know what? Who the hell cares? I'm just gonna separate it, and make it. Business you can't always take so personally.
No.
Somebody, I was part owner into a skate shop, and we lost a client because of me dating this guy's girlfriend, in elementary school or something. Cool, but it just sometimes people just don't like you, and that's fine.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that don't like me, and that's cool. Anytime somebody started a clothing company, they didn't like me. Great, you own a clothing company too. That's awesome. I don't really care. But it's you letting that not bother you. So it took me a long time to not go to bed at night worrying about, oh, well, this guy doesn't like me, or this guy does this clothing brand, and I Hate Candy Co. And then it just stop caring about it and just focus on what you're good at and work with that. If with anything, we have competitors, great, but let's focus on what we're doing, what we're good at, and that's fine.
And let's make it.
Yeah. Just be the best that you can be at what you're doing. Don't worry about your competition. We don't really look at them or follow them in the aspect of creeping their pages and stuff. We don't have time for that. We have no time to worry about what our competition is doing. We're focused on our clients, and that's that.
Okay. I don't want to take too much of your time and make this too long, but so for young people that want to go into business, what will you tell them?
I'd say start it now. Whatever your idea is, do it now, and don't be offended if somebody else has the same idea, because whatever you're thinking, there's 14 other people in the world that have the same idea. And believe in yourself, and let your if you don't let people I Hate Candy Co or people that don't like what you're doing affect you. Just do what you got to do. There's always going to be haters. It's just a thing, and don't take that too personally. Because at the end of the day, some people just want to hate you because they want to hate you or hate your idea or whatever you're doing. But sometimes it's jealousy too, and you don't ever know that answer, but it can be that, and that's why you just got to focus on you. And if you're you know, there's a lot of brands that they would have stopped because if somebody told them it was a bad idea. Amazon, Vans shoes, Apple, like Apple almost went bankrupt in the 90s. Same with Marvel, like all these kind of things. If they would have just stopped, we wouldn't have things now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have this phone right now,
That.
right? So you just gotta focus on what you're good at and don't worry about the haters because there's always gonna be somebody. And if you have an idea, do it now. And don't get bank loans. That's probably the other thing I would say is just, it's okay to go slow with things. Don't put your house up to start an idea. I've been a big believer in that kind of stuff, is just start off, see if it works, and then
Go from there.
go from there. Don't have to put everything on the line.
Okay. Well,
And if you're young, you can fail. It's okay to fail. I failed lots of times. If you're young, you can fail like a handful of times and you're still fine.
feel but move on.
Yeah, kids are starting businesses way younger now too. Like me starting at 16 isn't even a thing anymore. Look at the Screaming Brothers. They were like 13 and they made a huge company, right?
Yeah,
Like,
there's actually this lady that actually directed our own movie now. She's like 15.
yeah, like kids are doing things way younger now.
Yeah.
It's not even like 16, they're like, cool, great. But like when we started, it was a
It
kind
was
of
cool,
thing.
yeah. But
You
now
know,
it's
not everybody and
like,
their
oh,
dog
yeah.
had a clothing company like now.
Okay. Well, thanks for.
Yeah, no, this was
chatting-
fun. This was cool. This is
chatting with
brings
us.
back some old memories, and it's cool to talk about some of this stuff.
Okay. Thank you.